Alright, this is a really cool feature. Watch this. So we're going to turn right, and look at the light just came on the side of the vehicle to help you see to the right. How cool is that? Who wants to go down to the Paradise City with me? Alright, this is Great Lakes Power Stroke, and we are inside of the Bronco yet again. So I was able to request to take it for a 3-day test drive. They're doing that with the new Broncos. A bit more view of the interior. It's been great. I really got to say I love this thing. There are some things that I would like to gripe about, and some things that I would like to jump up and down and say, wow, what an amazing machine. So, I mean, I don't like any of the driver aid crap. It's annoying, I don't need it, and I mean, I see why it's here, but I wouldn't check a $900 option to have lane warning and like automatic speed control and all that garbage. I have it all turned off. You can turn off the lane departure with that button right there, and automatic bright lights, by selecting, if you're in automatic lights, I just have the headlights on because I think that they look cool. It is daytime, I don't need to have them on. With that selector switch, if you go to automatic, which is the first one above the one that I have selected, it will be automatic brights. But if you turn it to manual lights, which is the bottom setting, like if you turn on the manual lights, like, you know, an older car that doesn't have automatic lights, you can control your brights and it will not shut them off. So that's great. At least Ford gave you a workaround. I haven't found a start stop off button yet. I will keep looking and I'll read the owner's manual for you guys. Really the start stop is so seamlessly programmed in here, it's really not a big deal. And it's really not that annoying to me unless it's a high performance car where I'm like, why are you shutting this engine off? I bought it to listen to it. So this thing is weird. The Bronco, if you look forward, first of all, the hood looks downright menacing. It looks good. I like those humps. I like the hood. It's big, flat. Makes you think you're in a real Bronco. My buddy had a 77 that he had let's see here, he had a 460 in it when he got it, and I'm sure that was swapped in. And he ended up, I mean, that engine had gotten a little whopped out. It didn't break, it just was whopped out and was burning a lot of oil and stuff. He swapped in a 400 small block that had, well, Ford doesn't have a small block, big block. 400 335 series engine, the 400 M and or 400, and oh my god, Ford, they got all these weird nomenclatures, and then you got people, oh, there's no such thing as a 400M, it was only a 351M, whatever. It's a tall deck 351 Cleveland is what a 400 is. So it's a pretty cool engine. They were a smog era, so they get a lot of bad rep, but you can actually build the snot out of them, and they rip pretty well. He's got a set of I'm trying to remember, I think they're 2V open chamber heads and flat top piston, so it's relatively higher compression ratio. It runs okay. I mean, it's a pretty decent truck. He's got like 456 gears. Anyway, off on a tangent, it's actually a pretty decent truck off-road. Well, it was. The Bronco died in a accidental ice situation, and he now has the whole powertrain and axles into a 1979 or 78 F-150 four-wheel drive. Anyway, the Bronco's weird. The Bronco, if you don't look backward, feels like you're in a hot hatch. If you look backward, you see a giant compartment to put your crap and your family. It's really weird. It drives like a car, and that's a good thing. I'm not knocking it for that. This thing is flat out fun. Like, I like performance cars, and this thing is fun. It handles really, really well. The suspension reminds me a lot of the Focus RS. It's not as hard as the Focus RS, but the way it handles bumps and generally the way it handles in general reminds me a lot of the Focus RS. Yes, the roll center is a little bit higher. It does have a little bit more body roll, but honestly, the sway bar is really taking that. It's a really cool vehicle. Now, this one is the Badlands, and now that I've learned a little bit more, first of all, I was wrong in the first video that you guys hopefully will maybe see first, maybe not. This is an 8-speed, not a 10-speed, and this being a Badlands, now that I've read more about them, the Badlands only comes with the 2.0 turbo EcoBoost, which is the same one the Focus ST has. So yeah, this thing is awesome. It handles really, really well, and the four-wheel drive does lock. Like when you hit four-wheel lock, it is locked in four-wheel drive. When you turn, you can feel it. The turning radius is stupid on this thing. Like, I will show you, I promise. So, as you keep going in this video, I'll keep breaking down. So, yeah, so far I love it, and the more I learn about this, the more I like it. So I'll keep filling you guys in on what I learn, and this is so far what I've learned. I mean, I've learned more, but I'm going to cut this a little short. I'm almost at my destination, and I will see you all in the future of this video. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. All right, guys, a sad day has come. This is Great Lakes Power Stroke. We are bringing the Bronco back. I've had it for about 4 days, and there's almost 1,000 miles on it, and as you can see, that's one of the trips. We did just refill it, so we just barely got 400 or just less than 400 miles on it. On a full tank, we got 230 miles on a half tank. So just to give you a little bit of an idea on the range, that tank, 400 and something miles, I've been averaging 25.7, and some of that is 55, 60, 65, and then other of it is 70-ish on the highway. 75 in places where that's legal, so pretty good average. The stuff on the roof rack is absolutely killing the fuel economy. This one has a 270 degree, or an awning. I assume it's a 270 degree awning, and it is, I'm not sure if that's really what makes most of the noise. It's either a bike rack or a kayak mount too on the roof rack, and that thing just whistles. I'm sure you can hear it. Listen. So that's kind of annoying. The radar speed control is definitely not my favorite thing. And this thing has automatic braking, which I don't like at all, because a car was turning right in the lane over there, and it like put the brakes on. Like, dude, not gonna hit that car. I don't know why you're freaking out. So I'm not a big fan of this automated crap. It doesn't work very well, and it's definitely not something that I see as useful. The other problem is, too, if there's a car in front of you and you have the radar on, and then there's also a self-centering function on that button. It's like half self-driving steering, and I don't like that because that's really weird. It like corrects you, and it's weird. And God forbid somebody takes their eyes off the road while using that and trusts the computer, which should not be trusted. The issue I see, the biggest issue I see with this, I'm going to start with kind of the negatives, because there's a few things that are really obnoxious, not to do with the Bronco. The Bronco is a really excellent machine, but all this is horrible. This, you can turn off the lane, this button right here, oopsies, on the corner of the stalk. If you click that, you can turn on lane keeping. And what it does is it sees the, I'm going to move it over to the right, see how it does that, and it vibrates the steering wheel, okay? It's pretty passive, it doesn't really do anything weird, but if you have the steering on, or that on, it'll literally correct the car, and I don't like that. So I turn all that junk off. Now you can turn off auto brightness by having it switch to the manual headlights, which is great. Just a second, guys, I need to turn off the heat. This thing has got a phenomenal climate control system. It gets very hot, and it can get very cold if need be, and the defroster works excellent. We were driving in freezing rain yesterday. The tires that come on this, these are the basic Badlands tires. These are not the all-terrain traction tires. These things are awesome. I don't know how they have so much ice traction, but they do. Great snow traction. We were playing around on pretty easy. I mean, they're not easy. A two-wheel drive minivan would probably have trouble, but this thing being four-wheel drive with the function of the diff locking and the four-wheel drive lock to make it four-wheel drive as opposed to all-wheel drive. Now, what differentiates between all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive is a center differential between the front axle and the rear axle, and that allows them both to receive different RPMs of power and variable torque, whereas four-wheel drive is its symmetrical front and rear. That's what differentiates all-wheel drive from four-wheel drive. Now, this is all-wheel drive with the possibility of being four-wheel drive by clicking the lock button. That's great, works awesome. All that functionality is excellent. It needs no comment. I think this is an amazing machine. Just a little bit of a warning for people looking at getting into this. If you have a car in front of you, unfortunately I don't have one now, and I'm super weird about I like a lot of following distance between me and other people, especially in my line of work. I've seen where that people don't maintain following distance and they end up eating a car in front of them. It's not good. I maintain a lot of following distance to start with. Let's just say there is a car in front of you. There's not any audible or any noticeable. You could easily crank this button up right here to increase your set speed. Boom, 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 boom. But the car is going to hold it right the same distance between the car in front of you. If that car moved over into a different lane, or if it turned off the road, and if you're not paying attention, let's say you have it in this auto steering help nonsense, it'll totally take off. My dad drove it for a short ways, and he was still, I mean, my dad's an older guy, and this stuff, he really hates electronic stuff. I mean, I marginally hate driver aids. I mean, I really do hate driver aids, but my dad really hates driver's aids. I mean, he's been driving his car, which has, or one of his classic cars that has manual steering, manual brakes, gated shifter, you know, that's it. Obviously no traction control, no ABS. I mean, that's what he's used to. So the modern stuff, even though he's an automotive engineer, he's not a big fan of the modern stuff. Obviously he loves ABS because ABS is amazing, but the other modern crap is horrible. So the danger here is he was trying to figure out how this worked, and he had this speed control set at 100 mile an hour and didn't even know it, but the car in front of us was holding us there. Now, as soon as that car moved out of the way, the car started to accelerate. He's like, what the heck is this thing doing? Well, I pointed to him. I said, the green number is 100 miles an hour, Dad. You have the speed control set at 100 miles an hour, and you didn't know it because the electronic speed control was holding you to the back of that car. So I want to warn everybody, this is a warning. You have to be incredibly aware of how you're setting these kind of passive automated car nonsense, because this can get ahead of you really quick. Here's another weird issue, okay? I was pulling out of a parking lot, and the reset button's right here, and you push it in. I don't really like the speed control setup. I like how my truck has individual buttons for set and plus and minus and on and all that fun stuff and reset. Well, this toggle, you toggle up to speed up and down to speed down, okay? And that's fine. Push in is reset. Well, you can have the speed control set at 55, and let's just say you're doing 7 or 8 mile an hour through a parking lot, and you turn the wheel like I did, and your hand bumped the reset button, the car instantly starts accelerating back up to 55. Now, your average person, I figured it out really quick, gave foot brake a tap, it is what it is. Your average person is going to think that that's sudden acceleration, and they're going to crash into something. They're going to freak out. So, I want to warn you guys, you need to know what you're getting into with these, what I would call passive automation gadgets, because in my opinion they're kind of dangerous, and your average person is going to get really stumped with them. And if you depend too much on them, I don't want to be driving near you, because that's honestly pretty scary. If you're sitting here reading a book and depending on your automatic steering to do its job, you know, and the automatic braking too, they don't bring the car to full ABS level braking. They put the brakes on. So you can't depend on the automatic braking functionality to be your only driver. You got to also drive. So to me, that is, the other things make you passive and think you don't have to react and you don't have to be paying attention. And I think that this whole movement of this automation is an incredibly dangerous movement for everybody. I don't like it. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it because I don't think it works. I think that it breeds a false sense of security, and the results are not going to be good because people are not going to react quickly. Airline pilots are trained to the utmost level on a particular aircraft. They have thousands of flight hours of highly rigorous following everything by the books, and anytime you hear of a plane crash, it's because an automated system failed and the pilots didn't know how to react, because they have taken too much comfort in having automated systems control the airplane. As soon as that system fails, they're disoriented and they can't handle it. That's not a knock on them, it's a false level of security. So I'm just trying to warn, if you're going to get into this, you better know what you're getting into, because this is not improving your driving. This is making it worse. This is making you passive and making you complacent with driving is dangerous. I work on crashes all the time. Driving is incredibly dangerous. So keep that in mind. You know, not a fan. Now the rest of the car. This thing has got excellent backseat room. Excellent for the size of the vehicle. This thing is awesome. Practically saying the baby seat fits with comfort. The passenger in the front seat can easily sit in comfort with the baby seat in the back of the car, front facing or rear facing. I could easily put the baby seat behind me. I have the seat all the way back just because I like that. And just ignore the dust in my pants. I was leaning up against my truck earlier, which is dusty. I have plenty of room, and I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", 335, 325, depends on the week. I'm a big guy. I have big, wide shoulders, wide hips, big arms. I'm comfy. So, I should probably be slowing down. Sorry, guys. Someone's gonna be like, yeah, it's at 50. Well, it drops really quick, and nobody even obeys that speed limit here. But I'll do it for you guys. So, the interior compartment, the floors being rubber are absolutely excellent. The floor pad is huge down here. Compared to like a Jeep Wrangler, holy crap, the floor is huge. Same with the driver's side, a huge amount of foot space. Love it, no problems here. There's a real dead pedal here, which is awesome. I love it. I will say this very clearly. You guys have watched me rip on a couple things. This is a $900 option. All this garbage, I would not pay for that, period. Would not recommend it. I will not be buying it if I get one of these, period. The rest of this thing, though, the engine, this one is the Badlands, so it has the 2.0. You have to get the 2.0 or the first edition to get the 2.0, which is the same engine or a similar engine as the Focus ST. I had one of those during college. It's fun, it's fast, it's cheap, it worked. I had 0% financing because I was a student. Best thing in the world, best thing I've ever bought in my life. A lot of use, a lot of fun. For 0% financing, you can't beat it. So, this guy is perfectly fast enough. The GOAT modes are really fun. I mean, I'm sure they do something. I haven't slipper even though I don't need it to. I just really like having the GOAT modes. I just think they're really cool. The locking diff and the locking, or the lock four-wheel drive, or the locking, or the center differential lock to make it four-wheel drive. I think getting the Badlands to me is worth it to get that feature, because I used it the most out of any feature in this vehicle, because I was going to go explore something. If I knew it was deep snow or something like that, I clicked those two in, so I knew I had the best out of it. Alright guys, I'm sorry, my dad gave me a call right there, even though I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why it rang through, but it did. The radio system, this one has the Bang & Olufsen. I'm sure I said that wrong, I don't care. The B&O stereo, it's excellent, it sounds great. I listen to rock and roll, or classic rock, metal, heavy metal, punk, classic, country. I listen to some country, I listen to some country rap. Like, I have Moonshine Band's on right now. I like Colt Ford and Upchurch and all that. I like a wide range of music. Anything from, I like some Elvis, Beatles, AC/DC, Rolling Stones, the whole 9 yards. Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Guns N' Roses, a lot of hair metal, that kind of stuff. I like all music is a big part of my life, I gotta tell you. And this has an excellent stereo. The heads-up display is awesome. You can cast your phones when you connect it. You can cast the map. This one doesn't have an integrated map, but you can cast basically using your phone's Bluetooth its mapping ability onto the screen. So you have mapping. I'm just driving down Lakeshore, as you can see. It's an awesome heads-up display, this whole thing. I cannot say enough about this car in terms of real functionality. You can turn off stop-start. Honestly, they have the stop-start calibrated so well, it's pretty obnoxious. When stop start first came out, I think it was a little bit obnoxious, but now they've got it. It's pretty smooth. It's getting great fuel economy. It has good range. The handling is much more like my Focus RS than not. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. This thing is 75, if not 80%, as capable as like a Focus RS in terms of on-road fun handling. And obviously on a track, the brakes on the RS and just the lower center of gravity, lower roll center, everything about the RS is going to be better on a track, but like on a country road, you're going to have almost as much fun in this as you are in like a Focus RS. And I can assure you, you're going to have as much fun as this as an ST, because this is all-wheel drive and you can feel it's all-wheel drive. When you floor it coming out of a corner, where you can generally get on the power coming out of a corner, you can feel that this thing is all-wheel drive, and you can feel that it's putting down the power and it drives with the rear. This thing is fun, period. Very fun car. In every single, oopsies, might as well, okay, behind me didn't want to stop. Wow. Dude behind me was tailgating me so hard I was going to stop for a red light, and he wasn't going to stop, so I just was like, you know what, we'll go through the yellow. Because sometimes it's what you got to do. You got to look in the mirror too, see what the people behind you are doing. Don't tailgate. What was I getting at here? The range is perfect. I love the two features in the $900 safety package, which I do not believe is safe. That is awesome, is that it shows you if this thing will Come on now, 45. See how it says your speed limit here? Love that. That's very cool. The other thing is the blind spot detection in the mirror. When a car is next to you, maybe it should show up right now when I come next to these trucks over here, potentially. Well, come on. Oh, there it is. That is a very useful feature. I quite like that. I think that it's passive. It just lets you know what's going on. I think that's wonderful. And I think that if you could segregate out and get the speed limit acknowledgement and the sonar on the side of the vehicle to tell you if someone's next to you, I think that the blind spot monitoring, I think that those are two excellent features and a great improvement to safety. I don't believe that this passive automation is safe or useful or a good idea at all. That's my opinion. And the automatic brights, I wasn't put in a situation where I could see if they were as bad as the Toyota that I rented for work. We went out to PA for a case, and the thing was so bad. In the mountains, it was pouring down rain, it was soaking wet, it was blacktop, and the ground was really reflective, and it wouldn't let you run brights in the mountains to try and make sure you weren't going to hit a deer or there wasn't a tree down the side of the road. We were driving through really twisty mountain roads at night. The reflection of the road back to whatever sensor was catching to see if there was an oncoming car, it was disabling the headlights. And that was awful because the regular beams sucked and they didn't have any side coverage, whereas the brights would have had side coverage. It was really awful. So I haven't been in a situation, because we live in Michigan and the place is flat in most cases. I haven't been put in that situation with these, but because you can turn them to manual lights, which I do anyway at night, because sometimes you go through a tunnel and the stupid things turn off and then they have to turn back on. I don't like that. Or you go through a city and there's enough ambient light where it turns off your running lights. I don't know why a vehicle would do that, but it does. I'm trying to make this quick, and I know that this is going to be a little bit long-winded and I can talk fast, but I wanted to give you guys a good idea. This bronze interior accents I think are really, really good looking. These seats are great looking. They're very comfortable. They're very wide. Those of you who are like me, who have a wider footprint, you're not a toothpick, you're going to find these seats super duper comfortable. In stark contrast to, say, a Recaro or a seat that's designed for a smaller person, these are remarkably comfortable. So, yeah. Let's see here. The rear seat headroom with that safari roof design that they have where it bumps up like a Land Rover, it's excellent. Plenty of headroom. I can sit in the back. Not a problem. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. The seats full flat like I showed you in the first video, and that rock hard plastic to have a load surface. That's really awesome, and the traction on them would probably mean that laying out like a sleeping mat wouldn't slide around too much, and it would probably be a pretty comfortable place to sleep. I didn't get to try that, being I've only had it a short time, and most of it was driving it and enjoying it and going on exploration trips around the locale because I was having fun. So I'm getting close to the dealership now, and it's honestly kind of sad to give this thing up. I'm thinking really seriously about ordering one for myself without that. Let me know if you would like to see a Bronco Sport in the channel. Now, obviously, this particular, see, this is a stop start, so it's basically as soon as I let up the brake, it's going to turn back on. Watch and listen. So it's back on. It's very, very seamless. Not a problem. And with the stop start off button, if you don't like it, you can turn it off. If your battery is almost dead or dead and you had to jump start it to get it to the store to get a new battery, turn that off, because if that thing shuts off while you're driving, your car's not going to start back up if you had a battery issue. So keep that in mind too. It's a little bit of something I went through with my RS. I had a battery go bad, and right as soon as I jump started it to drive it to the dealership, because the battery was on warranty, so why would I do anything other than bring it to the dealership? I brought it to the dealership to have that done, and I remembered to click off that stop start because the thing would have shut off and not started again. So something to think about. Like I said, pulling in, and it's too bad to send it back because I really love it. I think it's a great vehicle. It fits my family very, very well. This thing, if you own a cabin or if you own a piece of land that you need to get to down an improved road, perhaps it's it's a road, but it's not like paved, dirt road, trail, something like that, you're gonna have no problem using this to get to where you need to go, to your lake house or your cabin or whatever. This is the kind of vehicle for you. If you don't need to have giant tires and this and that, with the The locking diff, the locking all-wheel drive. This thing goes through a lot, and it's very capable. In the snow, I got in some really slippery situations in terms of basically glare ice, and amazingly, these tires, I believe they're Pirellis. I didn't look at what model they are. I'll take a closer picture or something, but highly recommend these tires. At least from what I can tell, they're very quiet. They have great road banners, and their performance in the snow is nothing short of spectacular, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, it's a great vehicle, and I recommend it to anybody who's kind of looking for the same thing I am. This is not a Jeep Wrangler, but it is a extremely capable, practical machine. So thank you, everyone, and I appreciate your time.